What a match we are having here between Hikaru Nakamura and Arjun Erigaisi at the quarterfinals of the Esports World Cup 2026. Hikaru and Arjun have made 4 draws in a row, and now it's time for the Armageddon. Both are bidding their times. Arjun writes down his time, Hikaru writes down his time, and they both will be their times will be shown, and the one who has bid the lowest will get the black pieces. And there you see Hikaru's bid is 6 minutes 59 seconds. That's a very solid bid. 3 minutes and 1 second less than 10 minutes, and Arjun has 6 minutes 45 seconds, which means that Arjun's bid is lower. He will get the black pieces, and Hikaru is in a must win with white, has 3 minutes 15 seconds more, 10 minutes on the clock. Arjun can make a draw. Well, here we begin. Hikaru with the white pieces opens with d4, d5, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop e7. We have the queen's gambit declined, a very well-known line. And now Hikaru goes knight e2 in order to put his knight on g3 square. Arjun pauses for a bit, goes knight to d7. And now h4 is possible. This is Hikaru's prep, I'm pretty sure. And he does play h4. Bishop e6 quickly played here by Arjun. Well, the point is, if you take bishop h4, now queen b3 is very powerful. But bishop e6, he goes back. And now Hikaru is a bit confused. Should he go h5? Should he go knight g3? He goes knight g3. Bishop takes h4. And now knight h5 is a strong move. But instead he goes queen b3. And this is a small error, because now g5 is possible, which would give Arjun a very cool position. Arjun takes on g3. He doesn't go for that line and goes queen b6. Hikaru says, I can't trade the queens after being a pawn down. He looks at the dark squares with queen a3. And knight to e7, bishop comes out to d3. And Arjun now would love to castle at some point, but bishop h7 is hanging and the knight on e7 is hanging. So he goes a5, bishop to d6, hitting the bishop, knight c8. Now the bishop has to move. If you go to c5, I'll simply take it. So you go back, but instead he long castles, and knight to d6, queen d6, and here Arjun is a pawn up, he's better, and maybe long castle is something you can think about. It's a tough move to play, but long castle with the idea of queen c7 does feel like a very interesting idea. He goes queen b4, offering a trade, queen g3, attacking g7, g6, a3 played, and now Arjun can come back to e7. The position is roundabout even, and Hikaru opens up with e4. I think Arjun must go knight to b6 or knight f6, keeping the position closed, but instead takes it, and that's not a good move, because after knight e4, now knight d6 check is a threat. King f8 played, and knight to g5. Hikaru is coming in for the attack. King g7, and you can bring your other rook into the game. You can keep this rook on h1 and maybe bring this rook to e1. Yes, he plays rook de1. Excellent play by Hikaru Nakamura. Now knight f8 is a must, but Arjun blunders with queen f6. And the strongest way to continue is to take on e6 and fe6 and rook e4, with the idea of doubling, and also rook f4. Those are the plans in the position. Knight e6, fe6, rook e4. He takes, but goes queen c7. And now after rook h d8, so that you can play rook c8 to evict the queen from here. Black would be fine, but instead he goes with the other rook. The problem with this move is that you can no longer hit the queen. Now imagine if you had played here, and let's say even bishop c4, I can play this line and then I have counterplay here. But rook ad8 is a big error by Arjun. Bishop c4, excellent move by Hikaru, hitting the e6 pawn, and you can defend it with rook h e8, but bishop takes e6 comes nonetheless, as after take the d8 rook is hanging. So Arjun goes queen takes d4, bishop takes on e6, and rook h e8 played. He is trying to look here in this direction, but can we go rook d1, putting pressure on d7? He finds this move, excellent move, check, king b1, and now you can't take here, d8 is hanging, everything's hanging, so he takes anyway, queen d8, knight comes to f6, queen comes back with the idea of giving a check, h5, and Arjun is an exchange down. He has a pawn for a rook, a knight and a pawn for a rook, but it is not sufficient, I believe. Takes, g5 played, and Hikaru plays f3. These are the kinds of positions that Hikaru is going to convert without too many difficulties. He also has 2 extra minutes on the clock. King a1, and it's a heartbreak for Arjun. Because Arjun has, he can trade queens, by the way, but he doesn't. He keeps the queens on the board. Arjun has been coming so close to beating these guys, but somewhere something's lacking, something's missing. Check, queen f5, queen c3, a4 played. He goes rook to e5, queen comes to f4. Step by step, Hikaru is making progress here. Check, king f7, rook f5, and now check here, king e6. Arjun playing well here. Rook a5 only move. The rook was almost trapped. b5, and rook a6. Here queen c5 would be very powerful, because then the king could also enter in here. It's a great position, but he goes king e5, and that's a mistake, because now queen e2 check is powerful. He gives a check. If king f4, you can go queen e6. This is the point. He does go king f4 and queen e6, attacking here and here, taking also c4 square into control. And now Hikaru, you can see him bobbing his head there. He knows he's going to win this. Takes, rook takes c6, attacks the knight first. The knight has to go to h5, and now rook takes c4 check, rook takes a4 check, rook g4 is coming in. He first plays rook c5. I don't know why he didn't take this, but maybe he didn't like that black key could come in here towards the g2 pawn. So check, king up, and now b4. Excellent move by Hikaru. Arjun takes, and now the a pawn is just too powerful. Knight f1, even a4 played. If knight d2, I go king c3, you take, and my a pawn runs down. So knight e3, a5. Hikaru doesn't care. He just is pushing his pawn. Push. Both players queen, and check. And Hikaru knows this is a checkmate. Queen e6, king f8, check, and mate. And Hikaru Nakamura, look at him there. He scored a win here and moved to the semi-finals of the Esports World Cup, beating Arjun Erigaisi. It was a tough match, and there you can see Hikaru telling Arjun that he played well, 4 draws, and in the end winning in the Armageddon. And Arjun, well, he has to wait next year now. Genji Gaming, his team is out of the chess event, and Hikaru, Team Falcon, represent is very happy to reach the semi-finals, because even Ali Reza Firuza, who's the other Falcon, has reached the semi-finals. And well, great play by Hikaru Nakamura. Let's go to Paris and see the closing and the presentation ceremony of this game.
Put your hands together for Arjun Erigaisi! Hikaru, that match was insane. 4 straight draws, and then you clutch it out in the end. Were you a bit nervous going into that last one, and how did you eventually clutch it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first 2 games I was maybe worse, if not much worse, and then I was able to steady. And then in 3 and 4, I was a little bit better, but Arjun defended quite well to equalize. So going to Armageddon, I felt good. I thought my bid was good. I think he bid 750 in a previous Armageddon, so I thought I'd get black, and he underbid me. And yeah, the opening did not go the way I would have liked, but I think once Arjun played Queen B4 and he wasn't able to get his king out of the center of the board, it turned in my favor because my moves were much easier and he was getting low on time. So it's good to get the win, and yeah, we move on to the semis.
And in the semis, you're actually going to be going head-to-head with Denis Lazovic. How you feeling about that matchup after he took out Noterberg?
Well, I didn't know that. Yeah, it's a rematch of yesterday. It's a rematch of the Speed Chess Championship. So really looking forward to it, and I'm just glad that I'll have a chance to play for at least 3rd place.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Hikaru Nakamura.
An exciting first match, and it is time for our first key crush of the day, as Arjun Erigaisi's key must be crushed by the rightful winner of this match, Hikaru Nakamura. We are setting the key up and getting ready to get a loud pop, the one that represents the players' hopes and dreams. All we have to do is to get this one out to validate that ticket into the semi-finals. Let's hear it. Loud and clear, this validates Hikaru Nakamura's path into the semi-finals. Hikaru, once again, congratulations. You guys will see Hikaru later today on the semi-finals. Couple time for him to get ready for the next match, and more chess coming right now at Esports World Cup.